A recent study by the Institute for Economics and Peace shows that terrorism is on the rise, and groups like ISIS and Boko Haram are obviously still making headlines. So what do we do? Is there a way to stop terrorist groups? Well, the good news is all terrorist groups will end at some point. In fact, the Global Terrorism Database found that almost 75% of active terrorist groups before 1997 lasted less than 1 year. One Harvard study examined the post-9/11 world and found that terrorist groups that ended before 2008 lasted an average of 14 years. So for the most part, terrorist groups are temporary. The real question is, why do they break up? The most common reason a terrorist group stops committing terrorism is because they eventually become a political party. A study of 648 terrorist groups found that 40% of them end for this reason. There are many examples of this. The Kosovo Liberation Army, which was called a terrorist group by President Clinton, made the transition to the Kosovo Protection Corps, which now works closely with NATO. Sinn Féin, the political wing of the IRA, is currently one of the most popular political parties in Northern Ireland. But this doesn't mean that verifying a terrorist group as a political party necessarily ends terrorism. Hezbollah holds numerous seats in Lebanon's parliament, but still remains on most terrorist watch lists and has been connected to recent terrorist acts. Another major way terrorist groups come to an end is by unknowingly recruiting police or military intelligence whose goal is to break up the organization from the inside. Studies show that 40% split up for this reason. Intelligence agencies gather information, infiltrate groups, and arrest leaders. They can also make it harder for terrorist groups to raise money or recruit. Complete military action is 7% of why terrorist groups break up. But that number is deceiving because military actions aren't used against smaller terrorist organizations, which make up the majority of the 648 groups we're talking about. The study also shows that 10% of terrorist groups end because they achieved the goals they set out to achieve. A good example would be the National Liberation Front, which seized all terrorist activities after Algeria achieved independence from France. Of course, those aren't all of the ways terrorist groups end. Some end by splintering off into other terrorist groups, but that's not really terrorism ending so much as it is shifting allegiances. For more on the rise of terrorism, please check out our video on the rising death toll caused by terrorism. And if you have any ideas or questions you'd like us to explore, please let us know on Facebook or in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.